Hey everybody. People always ask me, Manny, what tools should I be using for my Amazon business? Well, this episode is brought to you by Helium10.com. These are the same tools I use to generate 6 figures per month with Amazon FBA. I get keyword research, product tracking, listing optimization, search term tracking, account monitoring, and a lot of other brand new money pulling tools that are going to be released to Helium 10 members on a regular basis. If you're going to grab any tools, check these out. Seriously, get a massive advantage with the tools that top sellers are using right now. Okay, and they're all in one place. Some tools and services will have a user cap, so get in there as quickly as you can. That's Helium10.com, Helium10.com.
Warning, the following podcast has been classified as insanely lucrative. Listener discretion is advised.
My previous biggest month was $145,783.
Your attention, please. Listening to the AM/PM podcast may cause recurring revenue streams and unfair advantages over your competitors. Other side effects may include fatter wallets, fired bosses, and longer vacations. Listen at your own risk. Here's your host, 7-figure entrepreneur and online marketing madman, Manny Coates. Manny Coates.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AM/PM podcast. My name is Manny Coates, and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss all things Amazon private label and how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show, AM/PM Podcast. As a matter of fact, I was just looking for a brand new audio system for my entertainment room. And while I was researching that and purchasing that, I was making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. So this podcast is going to be my earnings podcast, the earnings for November, and I'm also going to be talking about what happened in November. Now, I haven't done one of these in a while, and let me explain why. For those of you that follow my podcast on a regular basis, you know that I'm super busy, right? I dabble in a lot of different things. First of all, I have the podcast. And I have our Facebook group, the FBA High Rollers, right? So we have over 13,000 people in there. I try to be active as much as possible, and I'm trying to do the podcast. So that takes up a lot of time. In fact, for many podcasters, that's their full-time gig. That's what they do, right? For me, I'm also a private label seller. So I manufacture, I create, I sell products, and I'm always trying to grow this business. And especially now with Q4, it's gotten really crazy busy. So that in itself is another full-time business, right? But that's not where it ends. I also have the Helium 10 software suite at Helium10.com. That's the software tools for Amazon sellers that I've been building and putting out for a while now. And we're continuing to enhance, add new value to it, make it better all the time. So that's taking up a lot of my time. So that in itself is also another full-time business. So in addition to all of this, there's marketing, there's listening to other people's podcasts and other training and whatever it is that I need to do in order to stay on top of my game, right? I want to make sure that I'm always on the cutting edge of whatever technologies out there, whatever new strategies are being discussed or talked about or are working, and it just takes a lot of time. So that said, I just haven't had enough time in a given day or even in a given week or month to do all the things that I want to do, right? So not all the podcasts that I want to do have been put out or have even been created. I haven't done a lot of the expansion into the FBA business that I wanted to do, right? I was hoping to expand a little bit more. But anyways, I am now doing this. I'm going to put out the earnings for November. I'm going to make this public here for everybody to see. And as you guys know, these are real numbers. I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't claim 70% profit margins. I tell it how it is. So I'm going to tell you what I did last month. I'm going to compare that to previous earnings. I'm also super excited to tell you that 1 year has finally gone by. I hit my 1 year mark. So I started back in December of last year. And as of December 1st of this year, I hit my 12-month mark. So we're going to talk about my total 12-month revenue earnings. And then we'll talk about a lot of cool things that have happened in November. So stay tuned. So let's talk about where I'm at. Okay. So as of right now, let's talk about the 1 year in business, okay? I started December 1st, so December 1st of last year to December 1st of this year. My total earnings are $1.3 million. So it's $1,349,993. So I am thrilled with that. If you guys remember episode number 1, I said that I wanted to shoot for a goal of $250,000 by the end of 2017. And we still have one more month till the end of 2017. That will technically be 13 months, but that was a goal that I had mentioned back in episode 1, which was, hey, by the end of 2016, sorry, I kept saying 2017. The end of 2016, I want to hit $250,000. The really cool thing is that now, obviously I've grown, I've learned, and I'm applying a lot of different strategies and checking what works and what doesn't and testing new things. But now, my goal for the month of December alone, just for December, right, this month, I want to hit $250,000 just for December. So my goal when I first started of hitting $250,000 for the entire year is now going to be my goal just for this 1 month. So I don't know if I'm going to hit it. I expect that this is going to be my biggest month by far, barring any kind of catastrophic events that happen. And you never know with Amazon, right? But that's my yearly numbers, guys. I didn't break down the profit levels and everything on the 1 year. I added this at the last minute because I just realized as I was doing the podcast, I'm like, oh man, it's been 1 year. But I'm going to break down everything for November. That'll be a little bit more, everything will make more sense when we're doing just the 1 month. So let's talk about November, okay? Last December, okay, I made $75,710. That was my first month. So that was my biggest month for a long time. Okay, this month, or I should say November, the last month, we just finished that, I had made $168,519.79. Okay, so that far eclipsed my debut month, okay, December of last year, which obviously December is always an inflated month. It's always good, right? You always make a lot of money because of all the Christmas sales. So prior to November, at $168,000, my previous biggest month was $145,783. Okay, so I eclipsed that, not by a lot, but by about 20. I'm looking at the number, like $21,000, almost $22,000. But it still was my biggest month. It's made up of 4,853 units of product ordered. Okay, so almost 5,000 units make up that 168,000. And that's an average of about $40.19 per order. All right, so I've had 20 promo codes that were used last month, okay, and this was only used to do a quick liquidation test. I wanted to test some things out, so I did some promos, so not a lot there. Of the 4,853 units that were sold, I had a total of 80 refunds, 80 refunds. So that's just under 2%. So not too bad. I keep it relatively low. My advertising through sponsored ads has been really low as of late. Okay, I'm positioned pretty decently organically for my best-selling products, and I'm going to be working a little bit harder to get better positioning for some of my other brands. Okay, so my advertising hasn't been too bad. I'm going to actually post an online blog or an article on the blog over at helium10.com/blog that shows screenshots and breaks everything down. So some of the stuff that I'm not mentioning here will be on that particular post. But my shipping costs for November were definitely way higher than normal, right? Because I like to ship things by sea, but because of Christmas and because of the way the finances came in and the way it worked, I had to rush a lot of the inventory during the second half of November. So that drove my unit costs way up. Okay, way higher than they should have been. So overall margins, right? How much profit was in there? My overall margin at the end of everything was 25% on the money. So of the $168,519, I get to put about $42,600 or so in my pocket. That's pre-tax, so to speak, right? So $42,000. That's not bad. That's a pretty solid month. Let's break this down even further, guys. I have 4 brands right now, okay? That's what I have. I had a 5th brand way back. That was my very first product that I started that failed. You guys have heard about that in previous podcasts. If not, you can go check those out. But as of right now, I have 4 brands, and one of those 4 I am going to be phasing out, okay? I like the name of this one that I'm phasing out. I really like it, actually. But the products that are in this particular brand, there's 2 of them. They're weak and have been, that market has been inundated with other sellers like crazy. And there's not much I can do to differentiate these products. And there's actually, this is a big one, there's actually a legal case at the moment that depending on how it goes, it's going to disrupt this whole market. So I'm getting out now. It's kind of a price a price war, right? Everybody's racing to the bottom with their prices, and I just don't want to be there. And I actually use this product, or one of the products, to get approved over at Vendor Express, just to kind of, get in there and use their services. So we'll be talking about that at a different time. But in terms of pushing products out, I really only have 3 brands that I work on now. So I want to make that clear. 3 solid brands. As is normal with me, let's break it down even further, guys, right? I always like to do that. I want to be transparent with you guys. There's a lot of people out there that teach, that sell, that do whatever it is that they do, and they got lucky, right? They have that one hit wonder, that product that just crushes it. They were on Amazon at the right time, right, to just crush it. But you guys know it's tough out there, so you gotta diversify. Typically, at least I do. So what I have right now is I have 59% of my orders coming from one brand. Okay, while the other 2 brands make up 41% of the revenue. So I'm working on this, guys. I want to spread this out more evenly. I don't like that almost 60% of my revenue on Amazon is coming from this one brand, but it is the one brand that I had mentioned back in very early podcasts that I was planning to sell in 2017. So I guess on that front, it's cool, right? So I'm driving up that value, and I'm looking to exit with that brand sometime in 2017. At least that's the plan. We'll see how things go. I've added 3 new products to one of the smaller brands for December, right? I'm recording this now in the beginning portion of December, and I have one more SKU coming for sure. It's probably going to be January. Well, actually, for sure, it's going to be January at this point because of all the shipping delays and everything that's going on with the holidays, and maybe 4 to 6 more new SKUs if a new sample works out. So I'm waiting for my supplier to send me these new samples, and if they're as good as I think they're going to be, those will go into the mix, right? And I'll be probably selling those after the Chinese New Year. So I'm guessing sometime in February is when I'd be able to do it. I'd probably have them start manufacturing it though later this month. But anyways, like I said, I'm waiting on it to arrive next week, and then I'll know a little bit more. For my big brand, I have one new product that will be added this month, okay? But it's not going to arrive until January. So what I mean by adding it is I added it to my account. It's in there. We've got an order placed, right? We're just waiting for it to be finished, but it's not going to be ready until later this month in December and shipped out hopefully about a week before everybody closes down in China for the New Year. It'll be put on a boat and sent out here. So that's going to be pretty awesome. I can't wait for that to arrive. And like I said, it should probably be here sometime in January. Let's talk about some other details. My feedback rate, okay, is about 2.91%. What do I mean by the feedback rating, or sorry, the feedback rate? This is how many people or how many of my customers are actually leaving me a feedback rating, right? A seller feedback. So just under 1 out of every 30 people or so that buy from me have left me feedback. So that's not bad, right? 3%, but it's not great. It's 2.91% to be exact. I've been nearly double this rate in previous months. Okay, I've been close to 6%. Right now it's down. I'm guessing probably because so many people are hitting their users super hard for reviews right now, ever since Amazon banned incentivized reviews. I'm guessing that's why it's down. It's also, now that I think about it, it's probably due in part because November just ended, right? If November just ended, you still have people that are in the follow-up queue, right? So I don't send stuff to some people until up to about 10 days later. So it's not going to be until, like, people that bought the end of November probably aren't going to be getting some of the emails until next week, right? Does that make sense? Pretty low in terms of feedback. August was my previous lowest feedback rate percentage prior to this month. It was at 3.7%, and right now I'm at 2.91%. In regards to emails that I send out, I guess I might as well talk about that since I just mentioned what my feedback rates are. I typically send out 3 emails per purchase. Now, I flip-flop on this. Sometimes I do 2, usually I do 3, and depending on when you ask me and what's going on, my answer is going to change. Okay, nothing is static. Everything is always moving and changing. So, but guys, I've done this 20 different ways. But one of the most common for me, for the majority of my products, is that the first email is sent a couple days after the product is received by that customer. Okay, there's no pitch in that email, none. Okay, it's just super short, and I just try to create dialogue with them and try to get them to respond. All right, so it's basically, hey, I hope you receive the product. Let me know if there's a problem, and if you feel that my product is anything less than a 5-star product or something like that. Just hit reply. Super, super short, and I don't ask for any kind of reviews. That's usually sent, that's the first one, sent usually 2 to 3 days after the product arrives. And then the next email is about 5 days after the delivery, and that's where I'm going to be asking for a review. And sometimes I flip it. Sometimes I ask for seller feedback first, and then later on I ask for a review. So I test things differently. After that, on about day 10, and I vary this between day 7 and day 10, I'll ask for the final seller feedback or the review, depending on which one I sent earlier. But it's a 10-day process. I don't hit them too quickly, and everything's always really short, and it always looks super personal, right? It looks like I literally just got on there and typed the message. It's not this really long email with all these crazy hyperlinks. It's short, it's to the point, and I'll even sometimes add something to the bottom, something like sent from my iPhone, or something that looks like I just typed it out right there with my thumbs while I was having a coffee. So that's what I do there, guys. Tools that I use, you guys know I'm a big fan of using tools and services that save a lot of time, right? When it comes to keyword research, guys, I'm using a beta version of the new Helium 10 keyword tool. That one's called Magnet. You guys are using an older version right now. The new version should be out to paid members sometime by the end of December. Research tools, guys, I use a combination of tools because they all pick up something different typically, right? Slightly different in terms of the numbers that they show. We have our own internal tool for researching. It's not available, but we also use Jungle Scout, which all of you guys can download, of course. And I think when you use multiple tools, right, there's several of them out there, you start to get a range. You start to get a feel for what that product does in a given month. So check those out. Scribbles, guys, again, going back to Helium 10, I designed Helium 10 for myself, so I'm going to keep going back to that. But Scribbles, I use it for all my listings. And guys, Scribbles is free, right? Go to helium10.com, sign up if you're not already a member. I mean, you should, at the very least, if you're listening to this podcast, go to helium10.com and sign up for free, okay? Because you can use the free tools. There's several of them, and Scribbles is one of them. And a lot of people have said that Scribbles is actually one of our best tools, and it shouldn't be free. So check it out while it is free. AMS, guys, Amazon Marketing Services. I use that now. I just started getting into it. I know I've been talking about it and I've interviewed people that do it, but I've been so busy, like I said earlier in the podcast, that I haven't had a chance to really go in and sign up for Vendor Express and do all the cool things that you can do with AMS. So that was something that I did in November, and it's awesome, right? And we covered AMS in detail in previous podcasts. One of the podcasts I think that we covered it the most in, actually I should back up, the podcast where it was first mentioned in detail was the one I did with Matt Clark, so check that one out. And then we went into even more detail in episode number 77 with Mike McClary, who's actually done a whole course on how to sign up for Vendor Express and how to set everything up appropriately, right? What else have I done? In November, I finally got around to making sure one of my biggest suppliers credits me for every single one of my customer returns on a particular product that they make for us, where the product was returned because the customer says it was not working or it was damaged, something like that, right? I don't charge my suppliers for any kind of returns where the customer says they didn't like it. But if it's defective in any way, I'm spending so much money with my suppliers that I require that they credit me those number of units. So, and I hadn't been doing this in a while. We've been accumulating it when we've done it with other people, but we haven't done it with this particular supplier, and it was, several hundred units. So at first they were like, well, no, we can only do 1/3 of the units. And I was like, no, you're gonna do them all. We're not paying for defective stuff. So, they had to talk to their boss, and then they got it approved. So let's talk about some more data, some different numbers here. Previously, my biggest day ever in sales was September 1st. okay, back in September 1st, not too long ago, I had a lightning deal. And that day, my sales went through the roof. They went from about $4,400 the previous day to a new record for me, which was $14,301, right? That's huge. It's like a $10,000 extra day on top of what I normally make. But this month, right, November, was the first day that I shouldn't say this month. We're in December now. November was the first month where I had a day that I actually hit $25,000 in one day. $25,000. It was huge. And guys, there were no sales, no lightning deals or anything. That was, of course, on Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday was ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, so many people that were talking about this in our FBA High Rollers group said they were just crushing it. Black Friday, right? The day after Thanksgiving here in the U.S. was huge as well, but it was smaller by quite a bit than Cyber Monday. I was really surprised. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be posting a very detailed report on all this stuff, breaking things down even more so than I do in this podcast in a blog post. And again, that's going to be over at helium10.com/blog. So definitely check that out. You should see that up by the time this podcast airs. I want to talk about all the things that happened in November because there was a lot of cool stuff that happened. I know one of the things actually, I brought my brother over from the merch side, right? He was handling all of the merch business, and that was growing. It's always growing. Like right now, we haven't done anything to the merch side at all. And if you're not familiar with merch, that's Amazon's. That's Merch by Amazon. It's a system where you can sell on demand or print on demand products. Right now, it's shirts. And we make, I think we're going to, in the last 7 days, we made like $2,000 in profit. And it's on autopilot. Amazon handles everything. There's no inventory. There's no costs for us or anything like that because we're not designing any new shirts or anything right now. So my brother Mike has come over to help me with the FBA side of stuff. So we put all of the merch stuff on hold for Q4 while he helps me with expansion of the private label business. So we're going to be doing that. There's a much bigger upside to expanding that than there is with the merch program right now. And the merch program isn't going anywhere. It's going to continue to sell and make us money every single day while it's just sitting there. So Mike came over. He's really helping me with a lot of stuff there. We hired a new VA, so that's awesome, right? And if this new VA is as badassical as I hope he's going to be long term, then we're going to be in a good place. I raised my first capital for the company, guys. The first time ever using Upfund.io. And we have, if you go to the ampmpodcast.com website and you click on the tools section, there's a special link in there. It's an affiliate link, okay, guys? But you get a good discount. You get 10% off of Upfund's origination fees. So you save a ton of money. And it's just a deal that we negotiated. So you're going to get a better deal going through that link than if you go directly. But guys, I raised $56,000 through them in 2 weeks. And I used that to fund a really big order that, is going to help boost my December earnings. So that's one of the reasons why I'm confident that I can hit $250,000 in December, right? Because I'm using other people's money to fund all the inventory to make all these sales. So it's awesome. If you haven't checked out Upfund, definitely do so and get that. Go through our link if you don't mind, and save some money. Beyond that, we've got a prototype for one of our main brands. I'm about 80% done on that. That's new stuff I've really not gotten into too much, when it comes to tooling and doing all kinds of prototyping. So I'll have more on that probably the beginning of next year. I can talk about it a little bit more. I also made my artists available to everybody. So these are the guys that were doing all the merch stuff, all the t-shirts, all the packaging designs, all that stuff. You can email them if you guys want. It's merch@merchartists.com. So I'll spell that out real quick. MERCH, merch@merchartists.com. So it's MERCHARTISTS.com. So you can replay that if you'd like. You can also go to merchartists.com and then use the contact form there. Very reasonable rates. The guys there, they do all my graphic stuff when it comes to any of the designs and also some packaging designs, things like that. Super good guys. You'll be talking to Dan over there. And I know a good number of you are already using them. I posted this on the merch group, which is another thing. We started a new merch group on Facebook. It's called Merch Elite. It's got over, I think it's about 1,400 members in it right now. So go check that out. Go to Facebook, type Merch Elite, and join. And of course, if you are not part of our main group, right, our FBA High Rollers group, go in there. We're getting close to 14,000 members in there, okay? So go to Facebook, type in FBA High Rollers, and you'll see us. Or you can access that through our ampmpodcast.com website. Just click on the Facebook link, and that will take you there. Other big news was the release of our BrandGate checker tool over at Helium 10. And thousands of you have already used the tool. I want to say congratulations. It shows that you guys are serious. For those of you that don't know what brand gating is, it is not the same thing as brand registry. Brand gating means you can lock up your brand so that nobody else can sell on your listing, right? So that's cool. And the BrandGate checker tool will basically go in and see if your brand has been auto-gated by Amazon, because they're doing this with a number of brands. Some of you were pleasantly surprised to see that it had happened to you. And if you're not, it'll tell you. It'll also tell you if you are and what level of brand gating you have, because there's different levels. But the cool thing is, if you're not, you can still get it. You'll have to use an expert, somebody that does this. And I use private label attorney Susie Hickson for getting my brand gating done on the ones that are not already gated. But before you do any of that, just go check it out on Helium 10. It's a free tool. We made it free for now, okay? So you can go check it out. Sign up as a free member if you're not already a member there. Lots of value there, guys. So go run this on your various brands, your various ASINs, and see where you're at. That's the first step. I hired Susie Hickson to handle the brand gating on 2 of my brands, and also trademarking a couple of those brands as well. Now, Susie isn't cheap, but she's the best that I've talked to. So if you want to hire somebody, can't recommend her enough. The cool thing about Susie, by the way, is that she doesn't charge people if she doesn't get you branded or get you brand gated for your brands. I mentioned this in a previous podcast, how I lost about $36,000 in sales just from hijackers taking my buy box over the course of the year. Okay, 36 grand. It was like 3% of the time my buy box was hijacked. So 3% of my over $1 million worth of earnings comes out to around 36,000. It's gonna vary depending on how you do the math. But anyways, yeah, if I had brand gating, none of that would have happened. So we talked to Susie, and we did a collaboration. We set up a website, brandgating.com. So you guys can go over there, and if you sign up through that particular website to use her services to get your brands actually gated, okay, you're going to get about a little over $1,000 in bonuses. You're going to get VIP priority, and you'll get a huge discount on her normal $1,500 fee. That's per brand that she does for you. Remember, you guys don't pay anything if she doesn't get you brand gated. So it's really cool. Check it out. Like I said, I'm having her do my things as well. What else can I talk about? I know this is getting long, so I'm going to end this probably with just a couple more things. One of my products, one of my top 10 keywords was not ranking, right? And it wasn't even indexed. I ran it through 5K Checker, and it used to be ranking, or it used to be indexed, but it wasn't anymore. And this keyword, guys, it's like I said, it's one of my main keywords, and it was in my bullet points, or it is in my bullet points. So I ran all of my bullet points through the 5K Checker tool. Okay, this is one of our main tools in Helium 10, and holy crap, it wasn't indexed. So even though it was in my bullet points, and it was in there more than once, and it was also in my description, it just wasn't indexing. So this was a pretty common word for the product. So I was like, man, I don't understand why it's not being indexed. So I added it to the back-end search terms. I waited a little bit, right? Waited about 30 minutes, came back to it. Then I ran the keyword again through 5K Checker, and voila, I am now again indexing for that particular keyword. So the moral of the story here is, guys, make sure you're keeping up with this. You guys are checking your listings at least every single month, okay? At least every single month. Hire a VA if you have to do it on a weekly basis, whatever you need to do. But run all of your back-end keywords through 5K Checker. And also, super important, this is how I figured this out, is run all your front-end keywords through 5K Checker, right? Your front-end keywords being your title, your bullets, your descriptions, that kind of stuff. So run it all through 5K Checker and see what you're not indexing for. Because honestly, this one keyword that I wasn't indexing for, and I didn't realize for a little bit, it probably cost me $1,000 per month on sales that I lost. So, for the cost of a Helium 10 account, right? $97 a month. It's nothing. It's a no-brainer. So definitely check your keywords on a regular basis, front end and back end. So that's it, guys. Those are my earnings. 1 year. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where December is going to lead. I hit $168,519 in November, and I think I'm gonna. I hope that I crush through that number before I even hit Christmas, like Christmas Eve, December 24th. If I'm not past that, I'll be shocked, honestly. So guys, keep crushing it, right? Use services and tools out there that save you time and increase your earnings, and I will catch you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, check out episode number 86, where I interview Jason Katzenbach, the co-founder of Amazing.com. He drops a lot of nuggets, and he's going to talk about 5 obstacles that keep Amazon sellers from getting to the next level. Hey guys, Manny Coates here. If you've been following my podcast, you know I'm a huge fan of the Helium 10 tools for Amazon sellers. I only use the best tools out there, and the Helium 10 suite of tools are, in my opinion, best in class. Now, just because I'm the founder of Helium 10 doesn't mean that's all I use, right? I go where the money's at, and if there's a tool on the market that I haven't made and that tool helps me make money, I'll use it, and I'll talk about it here on the podcast, and I'll even link to it in our tools section at the ampmpodcast.com website. But I can honestly say that there's no place that I know of where you can get all the important tools that an FBA seller would need in one place, where the tools work with one another to help you save time and make you a lot of money. Now, the Helium 10 tools have had a huge hand in helping me go from 0 to over $1 million in Amazon sales in just 10 months. Okay, keyword research, listing optimization, and a super tool called 5K Checker that makes sure that the words in my listings, okay, the front end and the back end, are actually indexed by Amazon. And guys, if you're not checking this, you're leaving money on the table for sure, because Amazon is always tweaking their search engine. Okay, so I always use 5K Checker every single month on every single one of my listings to ensure that my listings are still indexed for my keywords and that I'm still pulling in customers like crazy. If you're a longtime listener, you know I'll never use a tool unless it can save me a lot of time or it's going to make me a lot of money. So I'm confident Helium 10 will do this for you guys, all right? There's a money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Check it out. Head over to helium10.com. Helium10.com. That's helium10.com.
You've been listening to the AM/PM podcast hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.